Welcome back to UnCeiling You, the podcast where we explore what holds us back and how to rise, reclaim, and rebuild from the inside out. As a teacher at heart, I see each season like a curriculum. Season 1 was about internal barriers, the stories, fears, and patterns we carry within. Season 2, we turned outward. We've been exploring the external barriers, the systems, relationships, and circumstances that challenge our voice, our worth, and our path. And to close this season, I'm featuring 2 incredible women whose stories show us what it really takes to break through. Today, you'll meet Kelly, a woman who began her journey as a battered mother of 7. She fled to a small town with big walls of social judgment, pain, and limited opportunity. But she didn't stay hidden. She didn't stay small. Instead, Kelly rose, anchored in faith fueled by determination, and built a nationally recognized real estate career. Her honors include top producing team in Northern Arizona, Homelight top negotiator, RE Max Hall of Fame, and who's who in luxury real estate. But here's what makes Kelly's story truly powerful. It's not just about success. It's about reclamation. And I want to pause here and define that. Reclamation means taking back what was lost, denied, or forgotten, especially a part of yourself. It's the act of standing in your worth, your voice, your strength, fully and freely, even after the world has tried to shrink you. And one thing I've noticed as I've spoken to guests is this: the greater the trauma, the deeper the connection to faith. For many, that faith, whether in God, purpose, or something greater, is what carries them through the storm. I know not everyone listening shares the same beliefs. That's okay. I invite you to listen with openness. Take what helps, leave what doesn't, and hear the universal truth underneath Kelly's story. There's always more waiting on the other side of pain, and we each have the power to rise, reclaim, and become. Let's begin. Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited for our audience to hear from you. Just as a reminder for my dear listeners, the unsealed people that are starting their ripple effects, we are talking about external barriers. And so today we're going to hear from Kelly. Kelly is going to be talking about a lot of external barriers that she just was able to drive right through. And so we're going to start right in the middle of the story where Kelly just got recently divorced. She has 7 children, and she is now in a small town with big walls that want to stop her, and she would not be stopped. So Kelly, if you could take us through your first days, what did it feel like to realize the local realtor network wasn't going to let you in?
Yeah, well, this little town, to give a little bit of background, this county was the poorest county in the entire state of Oklahoma at that time. And these are things that I really wasn't really cognizant of. I kind of found out later, but that's a pretty big barrier. And then there was only one broker in the town, and he'd grown up there, and his dad had had a pawn shop or something or other his whole life, and he got his license, and he was the only one in town, literally the only guy that was selling real estate. And typically in real estate, we do something called co-broking, where if someone has listings and I have buyers, I can call and ask them if I can show their houses and hopefully sell them. But this gentleman didn't want to play, so he literally called me and said, I just want to tell you that I don't like you, and I never want you to call me to ask to show any of my houses because I'm not going to let you. So that was my introduction. And so I realized if I'm going to do this, it's going to be me. I'm going to have to make it happen myself. And so average sales price was probably 30 to 40,000. That's not a lot of money. It was really, really hard. Big barriers. So that was what happened right off.
Talk about external barriers right there. Just the small economy. You have to do a lot, sell a lot in order to be successful. And the one guy in town automatically says, doesn't like you.
Yeah. I rented this house that had been fixed up. That's the good part. It had been fixed up, but it was one of those old-timey houses that originally was a store with the house in the back and the gas station in the front. That was my house. And it was 4 miles out of town and right on the highway. So the highway was good because it was easy access, but 4 miles out of town. And so I ended up getting not just my real estate license, but my mortgage originator license as well. And in this town, one of the things they did not have is, at that time, this was 1998, so long time ago, barely had internet, barely had cell phones. I mean, the cell phone I had was the size of a brick. Yeah, that was my first cell phone. So I got my loan originator license and I got connected with secondary market lenders because this town didn't have any secondary market loans available to the people. So we're talking no VA, no FHA, no conventional, no nothing. If you wanted to buy a house, you went to the bank, you put 10% down, you got an adjustable interest rate around 10%, and it was good for 10 years. And that was the only loan that was available. That was it. So a lot of people weren't buying houses. A lot of people were just stuck in their life. So I started advertising because I had access to the subprime. At that time, the subprime was a big deal too. I wasn't one of those people that was irresponsible with it, though. I was very responsible. But I started advertising, no down payment loans available. And my goodness, it was like the floodgates open, literally. It was amazing. People would come from near and far, all over the place, to get approved on a loan to buy a house with only maybe 5% down or 3% down, and in some cases, no percent down. And that's what exploded my business. Since that mean guy wouldn't work with me, I was forced to do everything. So I would get 3% on the buy side, 3% on the sell side, and 3% on the loan. So I would get 9% on every transaction. So I guess the moral of that story is there's always a flip side to something terrible, what looks like a really terrible situation. There's always another side. So and I was up against a wall. I mean, you can imagine, I was Mother Hubbard. I'm a 35-year-old woman with 7 children, no money, living in a gas station. Pretty negative, pretty bad. I mean, I remember sitting in the back room of this house at a desk that I had fashioned to be my desk, looking out at the endless acres of cattle and real estate and just crying and thinking, how am I ever going to make it? How am I had no child support. I mean, the only thing I had was whatever anyone nice would give me. And we found out through the process that we have our CDIB cards, which is Native American blood. So we got food from Indian commodities. We had IHS, which is Indian Health Services. We had some of these things, but it was pretty awful.
I really love the fact that, while it was still awful, while you were looking out on all those fields, seeing the cows, and you're wondering, how am I going to make it? You found a way. And it was likely because you had those external barriers that caused you to find a way. In you finding a way, you gave other people hope.
Right. Yep. And I did. I mean, I look back on it now. Sometimes you don't really see the full picture of the journey until you look back on it. So when I look back, I see how serendipitous everything was and how God really was ordering my steps. Yes, I ended up in a town that was the poorest in the county, but there was a purpose in where I was living. There was a purpose in the guy not wanting to work with me. Just all these amazing things that ended up working out for my benefit.
Yeah.
Usually someone would say, oh, I can't do it. It's impossible. I'm sunk. I may as well just go move in with my parents or go. I didn't have those choices. I mean, you can imagine I have 7 kids. There's no one that would even look at me, let alone help me. People were afraid of it.
So when you're looking out at the cows and you're wondering, how am I going to do this? There had to be some kind of internal voice that helped you believe. Can you tell me a little bit?
I had my faith already, and
Yeah.
I had already experienced amazing things happen, where God had helped me in the past. Because I went through I was in a very abusive marriage for 17 years, and I had experienced amazing miracles. And that's a whole nother story along that journey, right? So I already knew that I just had, I think I just clicked into this place where you either have to believe that what God said is true or not. Either what he said is true, either he's for me, not against me, either he will answer my prayers and give me the things that I'm asking for, or he won't. It's either one way or the other. And I had this little army of kids that believe everything I say. And I could tell them, okay, guys, we got to go to war. I have to have this happen. There's no choice here. It's sink or swim. So they would. We would pray together and believe together, and one step in front of the other. And I think part of the thing that people do is they stop. They just stop, or they turn around and go back. I mean, I could have gone back to their dad, and I could have sunk back into abuse. I could have done that, but I wanted something better. I didn't want that for my life. I knew I could die if I did that. I mean, it was bad. So there was no choice to go back. I had to go forward, and I had to put one foot in front of the other and believe that what God had said in his word was true, and that he will guide my steps. He will make my way straight. He will lead me into the beautiful pastures somewhere. It will happen. It has to happen if I just don't give up.
So one of the things that you shared with me when we were talking prior to this interview is you had your children create what I would call as a dream board, but you had them draw. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I didn't know what dream boards were. I just knew that there's power in praise. There's power in believing. And so I told the kids, I said, all right, what is it that we want? What is it that we need? I mean, we're living in a gas station, man. You can't say, this is God's will for my life to live in a gas station. No, I knew there's something better. And so I said, what do we want? So they started saying, I want this, I want that. I mean, they're young. I had two older kids, and they were kind of 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and they weren't really too into it, but the rest of them were. And so they were saying things like, we want a brick house, we want 100 acres, we want all these things. And so we just started thanking God for all those things. I think we did write them down, and we just said, thank you, Lord, because you promised if two or more agree on a thing as in touching it, that it shall be done by our Father, which is in heaven. And we believe it. And kids are amazing. They'll believe at that age, they'll believe whatever you tell them. They really will. And so I would crank up the music, our worship music, and we would dance around the living room and the store part of the house. And we would just say, this is what's coming. We're believing. We're going to watch for it. It's going to happen. And one of the girls had said they wanted horses and they wanted all kinds of things, but one of them wanted a waterfall. She was just, I want a waterfall. I'm like, okay. I've never heard of a waterfall being in this town anywhere, but we just put that down, and okay. So on one of the listing appointments I went on, my one friend that was helping me learning with experience, he helped me get my license, helped me learn how the business works, got me educated with loans and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he was there and he went with us. We go on this listing appointment, and this house is beautiful. I mean, it's on a lot of acres. It's a brick house, and we're sitting there talking to him about this house, and my friend was thinking this would be a nice commission. If she sells this, this is a great commission. I'm looking at it, and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking of all the check boxes of everything the kids had wanted. And I'm thinking, wow, this is so far beyond anything I could dream of, though. But you have to remember, this whole time that I've been working, I've just been putting the money aside. I mean, I didn't have anything to spend money on, so I was just saving everything. So my friend says to this gentleman, he says, so if the right person came along, would you be interested in financing this property? The man said, yeah, I would do that with the right person. If they had 20% to put down, I would do that. He already knows how hard it is to get financed in this town. And so my friend says to him, well, I think I have a buyer for you. And the man's like, what? He says, yeah, she wants to buy your house. Yeah. And so this place, I mean, it was amazing. It was 300 acres. Okay.
Wow.
3,000 square foot brick home. It was built at that time. Remember, this is not 2000, something like that. And so I'd been working in that store for almost going on 4 years, you know. So he says he would do that. And so if you can even believe this, we go out to the back of the house, and right behind the house, there's a waterfall. It's a waterfall. Yeah. It's like, how does that happen? You know, I mean, it was like everything we had prayed for, everything. And it was like a little utopia there for me to have, to have my kids there, raise them there. We were there for 10 years, raise my kids there and work. And, it was amazing. Yeah.
What did your daughter say? Who wanted the waterfall? What did she say when she saw it?
She told me, Mom, don't you remember? Don't you remember that when we were in that gas station, that was the one thing I wanted? And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's been a whole lifetime since then. So, but she's the one that reminded me that she was the one that had wanted the waterfalls. So,
What
yeah.
did that represent to you when she reminded you of that? What did that mean? What did that moment mean for you?
It means everything because it was an impossible request. So what it means for me now is I don't care what it is. I believe that God loves to bless his children, and he loves to make impossible situations possible. I believe he loves to do that. That's what it meant for me. So I try to remember it every time I'm up against a difficulty and something is hard. I remember what he gave us a waterfall. That was a lot harder than me asking for this listing to get sold or for this other thing to happen. That was a hard one. He had to plan that one from the beginning of time. That one had to be planned from the foundation of the earth. My little prayer. Is that
Yeah.
amazing? That's just, to me, that's just amazing.
Yeah. And I also love that message of not giving up. Had you given up, then you're not doing your part of the faith part.
You never give up. You can't. I have this little affirmation that I do every morning. And part of it is, even if I stray, even if I somehow stray off of the path, as long as I'm going forward, you will guide me back to the right path. You go bust that door down and say, come on, let's go. Come on. Angels of God, come help me. We're going to bust this door down. We're not going to give up.
I love you saying, just keep going. Don't worry. You've got the angels with you, and you were definitely going in the right direction, and your back was against the wall. Your story is amazing. And looking back, you see your biggest external barriers in your journey, the gender, the economics, the competition, the geography, especially the economics. Which internal mindset shifts do you think helped you overcome it?
Well, I didn't grow up like that. I grew up, in Rancho Santa Fe, California, Del Mar. We had a beach house in Del Mar. So it's not like I was really poor and I was trying to make my way. I knew what it was like to have great things and to live in a great place. And so for me, it was, this is not working. I mean, for a year of the time before I started the real estate thing, I took care of a 90-something-year-old woman who had dementia. She lived in our house. I took care of her 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I didn't like that either. I think the biggest shift was, I can't do this. I'm not going to tolerate this. No, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this, to dig myself out of this hole.
Like an energy shift, like inside your being, you're like centered, like this is not my spot. This
No,
other place
no.
is my spot.
And for me, because I've been through other challenges, amazing challenges that are so obviously God intervened. I mean, there's no way that anyone could say God did not intervene, amazing things. So I had experienced those things in the past. So when I get into that place, that mindset of it's sink or swim, I got to do or die. I have this place I go in my mind. It's like almost like a faith box where nothing's allowed in. No doubt, no negativity. You're not allowed to say anything to me that's negative. No. I go there and it's like I have to win. I'm going to win. And that's where I go, and it's like putting on my armor, putting on my gear. It's like I'm a Navy SEAL or something. I'm putting all that on and it's like, okay, it's time. Come on, God, it's time for us to do this. I'm going to do it and I'm going to succeed. There is no choice here. And it's always worked.
If someone's facing barriers, they're listening to you now, and they're hearing you, they're hearing your story. What is the first belief or mindset you encourage that person to take on or adopt?
Well, you need to, it's Jesus time, everybody. Find somebody that knows Jesus and get your heart right. That's number one. Get your heart right. Get yourself forgiven. Get a clean slate. Then get one of those promise books. There's those, you can get them online. It's a promise book. You can look up when I have this going on, what Bible verses, or that's, you can get it online, what Bible verses. And you have to believe what God says in his word is true. It's true. And it's for you. It's not for somebody else. It's for you. So if he says, when two people agree on a thing as touching it, it shall be done by my Father, which is in heaven. You believe it. You have to just believe it. And you have to remember your biggest enemy is your own mouth, because the Bible also says that you'll have whatsoever you say. So, I preach to my kids about this all the time. When they start complaining, I said, is that what you want? What you're saying right now, is that what you want? No, I don't want that. Then quit saying it. Quit saying you have this or you have this sickness or this whatever. Change your mindset and start saying whatever it is you're believing for. It's more real now than it will be when you have it. The
Words
house
are
that I
power.
got, the house that I ended up getting was more real when we were envisioning it and we were seeing it in our living room. It was more real there than it was when God gave it to us. So you get those verses, you put them up in your house or on somewhere so you can see them, memorize them, whatever, and you believe it. You just believe it. And then you don't give up, even if it takes 4 years, even if it takes however long it takes. And we're not talking like, God, I want to own a mansion in wherever. This is, start with the little stuff. Start with, if you're in a tough spot, if you're a single mom, if you're in an abusive situation, whatever it is, start with the little stuff. We need food. What if it's just as simple as that? I need turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. Start with new shoes. Start with little things, and then it gets to where it's pretty fun.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the UnCeiling You, and we're about to go into the insider group questions where we answer some really good questions for the folks that are in the Unsealed group and also the Spark group. But before we go there, if someone wants to get a hold of you, maybe they want to get into real estate, how should they find you?
Just all they have to do, that my name, I'm sure, will be on something.
Yes.
Just Google me.
Okay. So are you ready for the insider questions? Okay. So the first one is, what's one moment where you almost gave up and what specifically pulled you back in?
Okay. So when I was taking care of that old lady, that was pretty depressing. And I had a friend, different friend, that was trying to see if I could maybe get in a house and take care of 3 or 4 other old ladies. And I was considering that. It was something, it really didn't feel right. But You'll do whatever it takes. Real estate seemed pretty impossible at that time. I chose to go the real estate route instead of taking care of sweet old ladies with dementia. I decided to take a chance. And I didn't even know what my dreams were. So it's not like I had this big old dream to become a, amazing realtor. I didn't have that dream. At that point, it was just, what can I do to survive? What can I do to support my children? So I guess that would be because situation, to give up was death. There was no giving up wasn't even a choice. It wasn't even an option.
Yeah. So how did you manage fear, especially the kind that comes at 2 a.m. when everything feels impossible? Any rituals, mantras, habits that grounded you?
Well, like I said before, controlling your thoughts in your mind. Don't let it escape your mouth. Don't let yourself start confessing that stuff. And you need to I do it to this day. I actually have a coach, a Tony Robbins coach. I love Tony Robbins. And she makes me put together these affirmations, right? Affirmations that support what you believe, support what you want to see happen. And you get yourself in the morning, or at night, if it wakes you up, if those fears attack you in the middle of the night, get yourself some good scriptures on fear, perfect love, cast out all fear. You start confessing those things. You let that come out of your mouth instead of what's in there, instead of it's like an arrow that gets shot into your head and the fear. What if I die? What if I can't, what if my kids get taken away? What if, I mean, I had my ex's family and they were calling CPS on me every single week. I had to deal with the terror and the fear of him succeeding in getting my kids taken away. I mean, that was a real constant fear of what if he succeeds? What if he's able to prove that I'm an unfit mother? I had to battle a lot of fears on a lot of different fronts. And you have to have those affirmations, those things that you believe and that, you want to see happen, and only let your mind focus on that, and only let what comes out of your mouth support that. It's like 80% of the fears that get thrown at you, it's a lie. It never happens anyway.
Doesn't even get close.
Doesn't even get close. Yeah. Doesn't.
Yeah. What was the biggest mistake in your journey, and how did you recover from it without losing your momentum or self-trust?
Biggest mistake. The thing that's beautiful about mistakes, and you're going to make me cry again. The thing that's beautiful about mistakes, because you could say that there was a lot of mistakes. I could look back and say, I mean, my two oldest kids, they ended up going with their dad, and I ended up not being able to see them for 7 years. It was just tore my heart out. There was a lot of things that could have been mistakes, but the beautiful thing about having God in your heart, believing that your steps are ordered by Him, everything works out for your benefit eventually. It always does, even if it's a mistake, So, I mean, I don't know what I could say was my biggest mistake. There was a lot of mistakes, but they all worked out. They all seemed to have a way of working for my benefit.
Did your view of money and success change throughout this whole process? And if so, would you define success differently today?
It never has. I mean, because I had it when I was young. I mean, I had the idyllic childhood, amazing childhood with horses and everything I could have wanted. And so then when I lived at the ranch that we got with the waterfall, it was kind of the same. I mean, we had struggles. It was hard to make a living still, but we had everything we needed always, and it's still the same now. So I don't think, having joy in your life, and if God is so generous to give you someone in your life that you love and that you get along with and that believes like you, and have that joy of companionship, that's better than money. That's better than new clothes. That's better than anything. Having your faith and knowing you have this thing in your back pocket that, if doesn't matter, come what may, I can always go to war. I've got God. I can believe for whatever it is I need. That is huge wealth.
Right
That's
there.
huge wealth. So just having that contentment and that faith to know that no matter what happens,
That's great.
so that's wealth. To me, that's wealth.
What advice would you give to someone trying to break a hostile or exclusive professional network, especially if they don't have connections or support?
So it depends on what you want to do. I know from my perspective, if someone was to come to me in my profession, right, and they were to say, I don't have the tools, I don't have the money, but I will work. I will do whatever it takes to succeed. You tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. I'm going to shadow you. I'm going to do, you tell me to make 100 calls a day and give me the scripts. I'm going to do it. I would sponsor someone like that.
Mm.
100%. And there's a lot of other people I could find if someone called me and said, I have the want to, I have the need. I will do whatever it takes. I could find someone to sponsor someone like that because they don't come along very often. If you're armed with knowing I can do the impossible, I can do whatever it takes, I can do it. Someone will come across your path that's willing to sponsor you. They will. It'll happen.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being on the UnCeiling You podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun. I don't get to tell my story very often, and it reminds me of who I am and what I love. And so be encouraged, everybody. You can do it. Be happy. The Bible says that the joy of the Lord is my strength. So be full of joy. Thank you, Natalie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Kelly's story is a testament to what's possible when you choose to rise. No matter how far you've fallen, how tight the barriers, or how loud the doubt. She reminded us of something vital. Reclamation isn't about getting it all perfect. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, and choosing the next brave thing. That might be asking for help. It might be trusting your faith. It might be starting over with nothing but your kids, your values, and your vision. Her journey challenges all of us to ask, what part of myself am I ready to reclaim? And that question is exactly what we'll continue to explore. In our next episode, we'll meet another phenomenal woman who overcame external resistance to rewrite how we see ourselves through toys. And she did it without compromising who she is. But here's something new I'm thrilled to share with you. I'm launching the UnCeiling You Membership Academy, a community space designed to help you go beyond inspiration and into transformation. Inside, you'll get exclusive trainings and mindset tools, guided reflections and challenges, live sessions, and interviews to deepen your clarity and confidence, and a powerful, heart-forward network of women walking the same growth path. It's built for women who are ready, not just to dream, but to act, to get unstuck, to speak up, to lead from alignment, not exhaustion. Why does it matter? Because you deserve more than quick motivation. You deserve real tools, real connection, and real momentum. If Kelly's story lit something in you, follow that feeling. Let it carry you forward. You'll find everything you need at theunceilingzone.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being on this journey with me. And remember, you're not behind, you're becoming. The ripples started. Keep going.